Welcome to 5 Minutes in the Word, a daily devotional in the Word of God. Today on 5 Minutes in the Word, I want to turn our attention to Titus chapter 1, and I want us to start there in verse 5, and I want us to see the challenge that was put before the young man Titus. Titus chapter 1, starting there in verse 5, says, "For this reason, I left you in Crete, that you should set in order the things that are lacking, and appoint elders in every city as I commanded you." So here is Paul writing to the young man Titus, and he's reminding him of what his purpose was. His purpose, the reason he had been left behind, the reason he had been sent, is so that he could set things in order, things that were lacking. These were things that had been left undone, that needed to be done, and that was to appoint elders in every city. That there needed to be elders in the local congregation. This had not been done, but it needed to be done. And here, Paul is going to start out, and he's going to say this is important. That's basically what he's trying to say here. This is an important task. That's why he has left Titus to do this. That's why he is now writing about this again. He just shows the importance of having elders, having shepherds, having bishops. They're all the same office, having those in the local congregations. And so I want us to first just stress the importance of having shepherds, bishops, elders in the local congregation, having that office, having those leaders, and how just important that role is. Now we're going to go on to the qualities that he is going to list here for the young man Titus, what he is looking for. He says, "If a man is blameless, the husband of one wife, having faithful children, not accused of a dissipation or insubordination. For a bishop must be blameless as a steward of God, not self-willed, not quick-tempered, not given to wine, not violent, not greedy for money, but hospitable, a lover of what is good, sober-minded, just, holy, self-controlled, holding fast the faithful word as he has been taught, that he may be able to, by sound doctrine, both to exhort and convict those who contradict." Now, we're going to have a couple more verses we'll read here in a moment, but I want us to see, these qualities that are listed here for a man to be a bishop, to be an elder, to be a shepherd. I want to reiterate this again. That is the exact same office that we're talking about here, that in order for a man to be qualified for this, he has to be, blameless, the husband of one wife, having faithful children. He has to have all of these things in his life. He has to be someone that's a good steward, that's not self-willed, not quick-tempered. You wouldn't want someone to be in charge and be leading if they're not a good steward, if there's someone that's covetous, if there's someone that's violent and greedy. You wouldn't want that person leading. And so that's why he's telling them, the kind of qualities that he's looking for in these leaders. And when we look into elders and shepherds and bishops in the local congregation, and then later in another video, we'll talk about deacons, but there's qualities in which the Lord has instructed that these men are to have. And that's something that's, it is important for us to have shepherds. It's important for us to have deacons. And to meet those qualifications is crucial. It's important. It's a have to. It's one of the things, if we do not meet the qualifications that the Lord has stated in his word, then we are transgressing against his laws, and we cannot do that. And so we look here into the word of God. What Paul is writing here to the young man Titus, he tells him, hey, this is important. This is what you've been left for. And then he gives him the qualities in which these men are to have. Now, one thing I want to stress on top of all these great qualities is as he gets to the conclusion of these qualities, as we started reading there in verse 9, it says, holding fast the faithful word as he has been taught, that he may be able to, by sound doctrine, both to exhort and convict those who contradict. For there are many insubordinate, both idle talkers and deceivers, especially those of the circumcision, whose mouth must be stopped, who subvert whole households, teaching the things they ought not, for the sake of dishonest gain. So here we talk about all these great qualities, and that we can obviously kind of see why do these great qualities would be great leaders. And then you come down to the end of this here in Titus, and it says one of the other things that this shepherd needs to be able to do, this bishop, they need to be a person of sound doctrine, that know the word, that are able to defend the word and to stand up for the truth, both to exhort and to convict those who contradict, especially those, as he talks about in verse 10, those that are idle talkers, those that are deceivers, those that are insubordinate. In this particular context and time, they were dealing with those of the circumcision, and dealing with people that were bringing either false doctrines in or teaching false doctrines around. And this was something that it had to be stopped. That's what verse 11 says, whose mouths must be stopped. And this is how elders bishops can help lead in the congregation to not just have these other great qualities, but also to be people that stand up for the Word of God, stand up for truth. And so we take it all back to where we started there in verse 5. And I want us to stop for a moment and just recognize once again, having elders, shepherds, bishops, and a local congregation is important. It is something we should strive for. I know there's small congregations that don't have that yet, but it needs to be on the horizon, on their goal, on our plan, trying to at least learn and to train and to make sure that we are equipping men to one day fill that role. It needs to be an important thing that we seek after every day. And then we look to these qualities. And I know that not every man is going to serve as an elder, is not going to serve as a shepherd. And some of that's because they're just not qualified. Some men are not married. Some men don't have kids. There's other circumstances and stuff that are sometimes just out of their control. But you look at this and you look at all these qualities that a lot of these just refer back to Christian character, who this person is on the inside. Every single one of us can strive to have these good qualities and can strive to have these good, we might not all be married, might not all have children, but we can strive to have these other good qualities. These are qualities of God. These are qualities He asks us as Christians to have in our life. It's something we should all be like on a daily basis. So, men and women alike, looking at these qualities, we should want, to be like this. All these character qualities, we should want that in our lives. And then you're talking about men that are qualified, that have fulfilled, they're good teachers and preachers, and they're standing up for the truth, and they're the husband of one wife, and they have children. We need more men to be shepherds, to be bishops. We need more men to be deacons. We need more men to be preachers and teachers. And yes, the true is for ladies. We need more ladies to be, teachers and, helpers and all kinds of other things too. We do need, in general, just need more of God's people doing God's work. But today, specifically, we're talking about elders and shepherds, which men are the only ones qualified for that, according to the Word of God. We need more men to be shepherds and elders and bishops. And so if that's something that each of us, especially us men that are maybe not yet qualified like myself and others, that's something that we should probably strive for and long for and grow towards. Challenge ourselves, put ourselves out there and try to grow in that way. And if it's not possible, just at least grow in the good character that these men are called to have and called to be like every single day. And I would say also at the same time that's a personal responsibility as a congregation, helping create an environment that encourages men to want to be deacons, to want to be elders, to want to be preachers, to want to be Bible class teachers and every other role there within the Lord's church, whether it's helping, just serve in some other capacity, but just to be active in the Lord's work. That is so very important. The young man Titus, he was given a tall order. He was given an important order that the Lord saw was important, that Paul saw was important, and the young man Titus was to fulfill there in his ministry. And so let us see the importance of good leaders. Let's encourage our leaders. Let's let those that are leading lead by that example, and let's all stay true to the Word of God.